Confronting the narcissist. The one time when you knocked the smirk off their face and had them speechless. It can be done. Sometimes when it's least expected, sometimes it will shock you and completely catch you off guard. There are very few times where you can leave a narcissist completely speechless. They have a talk game. They love to feel like they're smarter than everybody else. They love to out-talk people. They love to over-talk people. And sometimes the empath can get in there and cut them with their words. Not in a mean way, not in a hurtful, harmful way, but it's just that's how the truth can penetrate through lies, deception, and evil. Narcissists feel like you are not intelligent enough to pick up on their subtle insults, their subtle put downs, to the point where they smirk right in your face. They get a kick out of playing right in your face. They just love trying to get over you and get one past you. My narcissistic ex-husband had a really nasty habit of body shaming me. And I want you to hit the like button on this video if you know anything about body shaming. If you have had this done to you by either an ex, a narcissist, a family member, a friend, a coworker, hit the like button on this video if you've gone through body shaming in any way. Sometimes in the middle or the beginning of the narcissist body shaming attempt, I would snap. And I would snap in a good way. I would snap with the truth. I wouldn't necessarily chew him up, but I would just basically just get him told. Like my grandma say, I told him about himself. It's basically like, look here, devil, I see you. And what you're not going to do is make me feel bad today. This is not an easy topic for me to talk about, but I feel like it's a necessary topic. It's not just about body shaming itself, but it's about how the narcissist tries to destroy you by destroying your self-esteem and your sense of self-worth. It is a way to control and dominate you. They make you feel like you are at their mercy, you are at their judgment, and there's no escaping them. You just get tired of them throwing stones and then hiding their hands. You get tired of them trying to throw shade at you and then suddenly act like they weren't. And then you just get so surprised at the audacity of the fact that they have fixed their mouth to say some of the things that they've said. My ex-narcissist had a habit of watching nasty movies, watching nasty films, nasty videos, visiting the adult bookstore, to the point where this type of stuff was always on his mind. And he let it come out, and he fixed his mouth to tell me that my body shape, the way that my body was, reminded him of one of his favorite adult stars. Now, I don't know what would make him think that that was some kind of compliment to me. It definitely wasn't. I was shocked and appalled. I am your wife, and I definitely don't want to hear or know about you comparing me to someone else. If I'm not special in your eyes, don't tell me about it. You made the decision to marry me. So with that comes me thinking that somehow, out of all the women in the world, I am special to you. There should be no reason for you to be bringing up other women to me, especially in that context. This is definitely not an easy video to shoot and get through. So, narcissists have this thing that they do with you where they try to be funny. They try to be cute. And this is with their subtle put downs. So in general, we know that adult stars are not normally plus size. That's outside of the norm. And so that's the subtle jab and the subtle punch, the subtle kick that the narcissist wanted to present to me. In addition to calling me fat bees and saying all kind of things about the way I look and my size and all of that, he's taking it to another level by comparing me as a plus size woman to one of his fetishes, plus size adult star. It's beyond humiliating, and then narcissists just gaslight you. You really don't know what to think of their behavior, but you're definitely certain that it's a put down. When narcissist makes these kinds of statements, they do this with this smirk on their face. It's like a setup. They are interested in your reaction, but they're interested in a certain reaction. They have this control thing, so they think in their mind they already know how you're going to react. Narcissists have several different motives. And when they do these subtle put downs, they have several different goals that they're trying to accomplish. Not only do they want to kind of tear you down and destroy your self-esteem, they also want to bring corruption into your life. So if you're not used to certain things, if you're not exposed to certain things, they do want to expose you to lots of lewdness and lust and that kind of thing. They want to bring you over to their side. And he thought I was going to be like, oh, let me see this person that you're talking about. That was the furthest thing from my mind. I don't care about that. I immediately told him how disrespectful that was, not only to me as a person, but to our marriage. When I started saying this is when I saw the smirk change. So it went from a smirk to a shocked face because he didn't get the reaction that he was expecting. Then it was a shame face, like, uh-oh, my plan didn't work as I expected it to. It backfired. And then he went into an appeasement face, like he needed a quick recovery, and he tried to deflect and kind of backpedal and change his original motive. But it was too late by then. He'd already done the damage, and I've already seen the tactic. When narcissists get embarrassed, they will try to come up with a rebuttal. When they get embarrassed, when they get caught, they try to bring on rebuttals, and then they do this deflection. They turn it back on you. So let me tell you about the narcissist rebuttal. He said back to me, well, you compared me to a celebrity. You said that I look like Jaleel White, and I had to break it down to him. I said, yes, I did say that you look like Jaleel White by the face, which is the same as saying you have a doppelganger or a twin. I haven't compared your naked body to another man's naked body. And I told him I would never do that. He has told me that I look like certain people too by the face. And I don't get offended about that. So the narcissist didn't win that rebuttal, so he chose to go with another rebuttal. So then he says, well, you told me that I have a basketball player's body. There again, they're trying to make you explain yourself to prove that they are correct in what they did. And I explained to him, I said, people have builds, people have body types. I don't have a problem with someone saying that I'm pear-shaped because that is my body type. And I said, for you, you have an athletic build. Your build is much like that of a basketball player. In fact, you played basketball, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about long, lean muscle. That is not comparing you to someone else's body. I'm not lining you up against other basketball players that are naked and saying, hey, this looks like this looks like that. I'm not doing that. But that's what you're doing to me. He still didn't get it. Proverbs 15:1. A soft answer turns away wrath, but grievous words stirs up anger. And I feel like those words, subtle put downs that the narcissist did, were designed to stir up anger within me, designed to make me feel bad and put me down, take away my self-esteem. Philippians chapter 2, verses 3 and 4. Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. And this is something that the narcissist doesn't have the ability to do. They can't put themselves in your shoes. They can't have empathy for you. They can't, place you higher than them because they come first. They can't consider your needs, your feelings, any of that. It's just not in them. All they care about is vanity, and they definitely want to stir up strife. In another instance, the narcissist compared me to someone on a social media platform that was garnering a lot of attention for wearing very revealing shorts with her larger posterium very noticeably in the camera. I would catch the narcissist watching this lady plenty of times in my absence. Sometimes I would walk in and he would be looking at this lady very lustfully and admiring her parts, smiling at the television and so forth. Now, this lady was making tutorial videos, but people weren't really looking at what she was showing in the video as far as her tutorials. They were looking at her backside. So, of course, naturally, it's a jealous thing right away. You see your spouse gawking and looking at someone who doesn't look like you. They have this very large posterium and almost zero waist. There's no waist, no waistline. A completely flat washboard stomach, okay? And I didn't look like that. And very subtly, my spouse is saying, you're not enough. You don't look as good as this person. This is what I really want, but I have to deal with you. This is how that kind of behavior makes you feel on its own. But then your spouse, your narcissist, adds insult to injury by calling you into the room while he's watching this lady and taunting you about your own social media page where you are trying to help people save money on their groceries and shopping and whatnot. And the narcissist hauls off and tells me, oh, look at this lady, she has all these views, and how's your little channel going? Are you still doing your channel? Then he says, well, you don't want to dress like that to get your channel going. And that's when I went off on him. I went slap off. And I told him something. I told him, how dare you disrespect me like that? I said, I am your wife. You are married to me. I said, if you want that, if that is what you really want, I said, what you can do is you can go out there and get it. If you feel like I am not enough for you, if you feel like you'd rather have someone who looks like that and acts like that, then go have at it. I say, you have zero respect for me, zero respect for this marriage, zero respect for my feelings in any way. And I straight up told him, don't you ever do anything like that to me again. Don't you ever say anything like that to me again. Make this your last time. And of course, he starts backpedaling. He didn't mean it like that. And he was just saying. And this is when you have caught them in their games and they realize that it didn't work. Deuteronomy 5:21. Neither shalt thou desire thy neighbor's wife, neither shalt thou covet thy neighbor's house. And that is exactly what my ex-husband was doing. Peering over into someone else's yard and feeling like the grass was greener over there. Now, I understand very well men are visual creatures. They like to look at beautiful things. They are stimulated visually. I get all of that. They should be attracted to their spouse. I understand. It's very important. I do feel like if you love your spouse and your wife has 80% body, okay, and you feel like she's missing 20%, why not help her work on that 20% until she gets there? Why not help her get to it if it's so important to you? You can go and get the woman that has 100% body, but she won't have those internal qualities of your wife. We're not perfect, and we're all not going to have just everything. You know, that's part of being human. We are imperfect beings, and there's no harm in working on your spouse. There's no harm in people having their preferences. I had a preference of, larger guys with meat on their bones. My ex-husband was not that. Never once did I ever open my mouth to say to him, you're too skinny, you're too small. I never said anything like that. You're too lean, you're too thin. Never said anything like that, because I do believe that everyone is beautiful in their own way. You can find beauty if you're looking. I accepted him for who he was, the way he looked, as he was. And if he didn't accept me, he should have told me, not married me. Not married me so he can go look at other people. That's not right. Ephesians chapter 5, starting at verse number 25. Husbands, love your wives, even as Christ also loved the church, and gave himself for it, that he might sanctify and cleanse it with the washing of the water by the word, that he might present to itself a glorious church, having no spot or wrinkle or any such thing, but that it should be holy and without blemish. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, but nourishes and cherishes it, even as the Lord the church. Now that right there says it all, how I should have been treated as a wife. I wasn't. I wasn't washed with the water of the word of the Lord Jesus Christ. My husband, ex-husband, did not lead me anywhere towards the Lord. When I went to church, I went by myself for the whole 14 years of the marriage. Okay? He did not esteem me in any way. And if he did say anything nice about me, it was for a particular motive. It was for him to get something from me, such as money. There was no love, which is why I now understand how he was able to body shame me with no shame. If you don't love someone, you don't care about them, you're not going to care about hurting them. And he didn't. I had to learn to pull myself out of that huge self-esteem pit that the narcissist tried to put me in and hold me in. I had to build myself up. He wasn't going to build me up. He didn't build me up. He tore me down. I had to get away from that situation, get away from that negative person so that I can be a better version of myself. I've lost 40 pounds since leaving the narcissist, and I'm looking forward to seeing what the end result will be. I'm going to continue to work on myself and continue to fight against all of the negative things that he said against me and about me. We cannot listen to what the enemy has to say about us. We have to constantly remind ourselves what God says about us. Get in your word, read the word, and you will discover what the Lord has to say about you. You are his creation, fearfully and wonderfully made, no matter what the enemy says.